So the real reason the Germans lost World War II was because of Stalingrad. It all goes back to Stalingrad. After the announcement of Case Blue, which was the aim of the Germans to take the Russian oil fields in the Caucasus. Now, how was the Germans planning to do this? Case Blue was supposed to trap large remnants of the Soviet forces. It would destroy them, east of Kiev. They were trying to destroy as many Russian units before they would reach Astrakhan. Then the main body of Russians that would be attacking the Caucasus would be shielded by taking Stalingrad. Stalingrad was a very, very important point. Why? Why was Stalingrad so important? Stalingrad was important because it would shield the Axis from any attacks from the Soviets, and they would be able to hold on to the Caucasus and basically cut the communications with the Soviet heartland. That's what you want to do, right? You want to shield the Axis from an attack from the Soviets. Now, originally, I believe Army Group A was supposed to go to the Stalingrad. Army Group B was supposed to advance to the Caucasus. But Hitler, being Hitler, he modified the plan and made part of the army group that was in the Caucasus to split off and attack the Russians in Stalingrad. And then he kept changing the plans like every couple. He kept changing the plans all the time, oh no, let's move this Panzer army back from the Caucasus to the to Stalingrad. So let's move on. What happened? German 6th Army, they were supposed to take Stalingrad, but the problem here was the flanks were not properly secured. The flanks were held by Romanian and Italians. The Italian 8th Army was holding the flank, the upper flank, the north flank. The Romanians were holding the southern flank, I believe. And the Italians were holding the upper flank, the northern flank. And, the Italians were under-equipped soldiers. They didn't even have anti-tank weapons to destroy T-34s. Their anti-tank weapons were useless. They didn't have good weapons. They were under-equipped. The only fucking soldiers that were well-equipped were the Alpine Corps of the Italians. Romanians don't even talk about it. They don't even have good weapons to fight back. So the main reason that the Stalingrad fucking disaster happened for the Germans was because the flanks weren't secured. And the Germans were overstretched. The supply lines was very far away. The supply depots and stuff logistics is key to winning a war. Very much so. What else? Well, that's pretty much it, The Allies were the weakest, but the Allies, they told the Germans, they warned them that there was going to be attack. They warned them that the Romanians were under-equipped. They needed assault guns. They needed Stug assault guns. They needed to be equipped, but the Germans didn't listen. They just laughed off the attack. Said that the Russians didn't have enough resources to attack in the summer offensive, but they did. And the operation was called Saturn, and then there was another operation called Little Saturn, because Manstein, after the 6th Army was encircled, he wanted to do an operation to relieve them, was called Operation Winter Storm. He actually advanced with Hermann Hart's Panzer Division, and he had his own Panzer Division that was supposed to attack from diversionary attack and then attack Stalingrad to try and open up a path to resupply them. He wanted Paulus, the commander of the 6th Army, to break out and attempt to link up with him. But that wasn't going to happen, because Paulus wasn't going to obey Hitler's orders, to hold the city. Hitler actually told the 6th Army to hold Stalingrad, to hold on, even though they were encircled. And he thought that it was possible to supply an entire army of 250,000 men an entire army of 250,000 men by air. And he knew, well, you know, Goering reassured Hitler that the Luftwaffe was going to be able to supply the 6th Army by air, but everybody knew that wasn't possible because minimum, the 6th Army would need 800 tons to survive, just to function. Fuel, ammunition, supplies, food for 250,000 men. They knew they couldn't supply them by air. Goering just said that to get back into Hitler's goodwill. So that was another issue. The other issue was that the operation of Little Saturn happened. And when that happened, all attempts and all ways of relieving the 6th Army was over. Because, you know, Manstein had to he had to divert some troops from his operation to relieve the 6th Army to plug the gaps. Because the Italian 8th Army with Operation Little Saturn was destroyed. So the flanks had to be secured. So you have to send some of those men that are attacking to supply Stalingrad over there to plug the gaps, or else you're fucked. So really, and then there's another issue. Because if the 6th Army did retreat and fall back, there was a chance that the Russians would attack and take Rostov-on-Don. If the Russians took Rostov-on-Don, it would be effectively over completely, because that would trap the entire army group in the Caucasus. That would trap them in a circle, the entire army in the Caucasus. How are you going to supply them without Rostov? Anything south of Rostov is Russian now, because you can't supply them anymore. And if you can't supply them anymore, they're going to run out of ammunition. And if they don't have ammunition, they can't fight, which means they're going to surrender. If they don't have supplies, they're going to die because they need food to sustain themselves. So supply is everything. If you can encircle an army for a length of time, more than their supplies can hold them, then you win the battle. Supplies is key. Logistics is key in every battle. You know, tactics come later. So yeah, man, everything about that operation was going to doom the Germans. Everything. Like, there was no way the Germans were going to win that battle. Just impossible. Even if they, you know, yeah, there was no way. They just didn't have enough equipment or men to hold the flanks. It just isn't possible. There was no way, even with 2020 hindsight. Once America declared war on Germany, it was just a matter of time till the defeat happened, pretty much.